There was zero marketing person in the team. There was zero growth people in the team. We were just a bunch of engineers trying to figure out like how do we grow. We became world number one on that benchmark before our launch. Google, Microsoft, everybody is participating in that benchmark.
6 million users, 150,000 paying customers in months. What exactly was the first repeatable growth hack that worked?
Silicon Valley usually builds for Silicon Valley. You chose India. What kind of structural advantage did building from India give you?
When we were about to launch, first thing that we looked at was, is our product outperforming the competition? We looked at which startups have grown really fast, like looked at their playbook and realized that one of the fastest way to take off is to work with influencers on Instagram, TikTok, X, LinkedIn, who already have a voice on a niche domain.
I would love to talk about the dark side of Blitzscaling because everyone sees the headline numbers, but I'm sure some things broke.
There are fires burning every day.
Right now, as we're speaking.
There is not a single day that there is not an oh shit moment. I did not expect this is going to happen.
Mukund, welcome. It's so great to have you. Let's start with the elephant in the room. Silicon Valley usually builds for Silicon Valley, then the world. You chose India as your primary front, scaled globally, and are now a global giant. Over 100 million in recurring revenue in such a short space of time. What kind of structural advantage did building from India give you?
One advantage that we got is that we got a lot of noise-free time. Just focus on the work, be heads down executing. India also has a large pool of talent, especially engineering talent, product talent. And we were able to hire a lot of really good, smart folks onto the team. And initial team was really small. So we had only like 8-9 people in the team when we launched the product. Just that focus work, being able to attract the top talent in India to be able to go after a really hard problem.
I would love to talk about the mechanics of your growth because 6 million users and 150,000 paying customers in months is unprecedented. And I wonder sometimes how much AI has got to do with it because we're seeing this hockey stick growth that's crazy for traditional SaaS. What exactly was the first repeatable growth hack that worked? And then maybe on the converse, what didn't work?
Yeah, totally. Just to take you a little bit in the background of our journey. So we actually started off sometime in 2024. We spent the first sort of 6 months purely in research mode, building world's best coding agent. And that's our secret sauce. That's the reason that we have been growing so fast is that the underlying coding agent is really strong. I was a CTO of a $1 billion startup before. And I had seen in the first hand how engineering teams struggle as the teams scale. And of course, with AI, coding was going to become really easy. We started imagining what would like a fully automated software development platform look like. So there's a benchmark called SweBench, which is essentially where all of the coding agents are getting measured. We became world number one on that benchmark before our launch. Like Google, Microsoft, everybody is participating in that benchmark. And that really set the foundation of the system that we have built. We also built out one of the world's first multi-agent systems, which is essentially where different agents can come in different points of time, perform different functions that a software development team does. So when we were about to launch, first thing that we looked at was, is our product outperforming the competition? A lot of the people who got started in the space, like almost accidentally started off as an app builder. They saw that front-end coding was getting easy. And a lot of the first aha moment was you're able to build a front-end that looks really pretty. Good for landing pages, good for demos. But they miss the critical part. When you want to ship a production-ready app, you need like real backends, real database, you need testing, you need security, all of those things. We realized was that market really needed a solution where people can actually build and ship an app because the real users, the small, medium business owners, the entrepreneurs who want to actually build an app really want an outcome. They just don't want a demo, right? So when we came to the market, we were really confident that product is going to work. And then it was like, hey, now if the product is really working, how do we get the word out? There was zero marketing person in the team. There was zero growth people in the team. We were just a bunch of engineers trying to figure out like how do we grow on back of a product that was working. We looked at which startups have grown really fast and how have they grown. We looked at Cal AI as one of the examples and looked at their playbook and realized that one of the fastest way to get a takeoff is to work with influencers. These are people, like on Instagram, TikTok, X, LinkedIn, who like already have a voice on a niche domain. And because we were building this app builder, like we realized that like we are a very horizontal play. We could partner with any kind of influencer and really build content around their domain. For example, we'll partner with a fitness influencer and they'll build, let's say, a calorie tracking app. We'll partner with a doctor who will build a medical transcription app. So the category was very broad. So we first leaned into this influencer marketing as a channel. And just before the launch, we did a bunch of A/B tests, like which kind of influencer is going to work, what kind of content is going to work. We gave out invite codes to all of our creators. And we're able to trace back that, okay, this kind of content, this kind of audience is going to be working for us. Then we leaned in very heavily in the first early days of our launch into that channel. We also focused a lot on our initial launch. I remember on the day of the launch, we actually got through our personal network, at least 5,000 people, which we have DM'd saying that, hey, we're going to launch on this day. Like when we launch at this time, you have to retweet, you have to just getting that escape velocity at the launch, because we knew the product is really, really good. And if we just get it to distribute to enough people on the day one, like the word of mouth will spread. And that's what exactly has happened with us. And after that, it has been just word of mouth, us doing a lot of events, us just being out there building publicly has really helped. And now, of course, we have a very distributed strategy on how do we grow. We are at a very different scale now.
And I want to double click on that, because I know that there was a 1 month which you went from 50 million to 100 million in revenue, which is absolutely insane. Are you now selling to enterprises? How are you thinking about that as the business has scaled so rapidly? And are you still personally driving sales as well?
Yeah, so currently we are not enterprise focused at all. I think enterprise requires a very different sort of thinking. We don't want to rush it. And we see very deep market in SMB and solopreneurs. We want to get that first and then approach enterprise as we expand, but will happen very soon. From our perspective, what matters to us is the success rate of these people on the platform. It is crazy because right now nobody is dropping off the platform because they didn't want the product. They're just dropping off because they couldn't build what they wanted to build. Right? We want to really focus on this kind of use case and really get people to success, which we think is going to accelerate our growth. What happened between that month, 50 to 100 run rate that we achieved, one was our funding news came out. And because we have done these kind of events before, like our launch event was one, and whenever we do a product update, we try to do this like once a month big thing, right? Where we are able to rally the entire team around. And that PR went really ballistic, and we got a lot of people using us. And what is also happening for us is that growth is compounding. There is this compounding flywheel right now that's happening at Emergent, where as we acquire more users get to success. The more users get to success, the more they talk about us. The more they talk about us, the more people know about us. And that leads a lot more people coming to the platform. And of course, the fundraise news. I think my fundraise Twitter video got like 3 million views. And so that really accelerated our growth. And then the compounding effect is playing in right now.
I love the idea of your fundraising video being a customer acquisition channel. That's probably very cheap than if you try to acquire them even via influencers. And I would love to hear about how you think about pricing, because I think pricing AI is also a bit of an art and a science. Is it subscription? Is it credits? Is it seat-based? How did that evolve from zero when you started and when you started having an uptick? And how did you kind of tweak and adjust to what it is right now?
Pricing is something that we are also discovering right now. I don't think we have paid enough attention on it as much as I would want to. So what we do is essentially we have a very basic subscription, $20 subscription for our regular plan, $200 subscription for our pro plan. Pro plan obviously comes with a better agent, comes with a lot more features, longer context lengths. It's really built for professional people who want to ship high quality apps. And that gives you like monthly credits for the tokens, the subscription amount. And then you can actually buy as much token as you want on the go as you build it. From day zero, actually, we have had the same plan. We have a very nuanced take on pricing right now. We think that a lot of the other players in the market are trying to bundle everything into a subscription. What our learning has been that people have different credit usage, different token usage depending on the platform that you're trying to build. We don't want people to pre-commit to a large token spend, right? So a lot of our usage is actually credit-based usage because you don't know the scope of the project that you're building initially. You don't know like how deep you want to build this product right now. We feel this consumption-based model, this usage-based model is actually that's going to scale. As AI is going to get more and more capable, right? Like where you are just going to spend a lot more token on every task. So we are really leaning into on this consumption-based, usage-based pricing. And of course, like ideal state would be for us to get to an unlimited pricing where you don't care about token usage, you just pay a flat fee and we manage everything in the back end.
One thing that I find really interesting is in this AI age, we're seeing a lot more companies go from that 0 to 1 phase and then rapidly to about 1 to 10 million phase and then 10 to 100 million phase, as you've successfully done. As you now go into this next phase beyond $100 million in revenue, what next? Like, how has that shifted your mental model? What's different in your sales strategy? What have you had to think through as you're going into this next phase?
For us, we feel that we have to get a lot more focus on like who is actually finding utility on the platform, right? And really build for them. For example, we have this cohort of what we internally call power users. These are people who are actually building serious application, like things like CRM, ERPs, logistics app for tracking their trucking business. A lot of entrepreneurs who are building AI first, agent first application. So a lot of our focus has gone into saying that, hey, how do we acquire these users? How do we get to these users faster and cheaper? For example, one of the things that we are leading on very heavily is like how do we give more free tokens to these users? So people who actually we think are serious users, can we actually give them more sort of free token? We are also leaning very heavily into building a big brand around hackathons, around entrepreneurship. For example, in last October, we did this hackathon with YC, where this was the first of its kind where, like people could actually, non-developers, so YC so far traditionally has been very developer focused. And so we ran this hackathon where non-developers could come in and for the first time sort of build things out. And the prize was a YC interview, right? So you actually get a YC interview in the prize. And so we want to build a brand around like this whole builder energy that is there, like now that anybody can build. And so many people who are really close to a problem, who understand that very deeply, want to solve a problem, can actually come to Emergent and build.
There was something you said, Mukund, earlier around spending about 6 to 8 months building the product before you took it out to market. And what I'm saying is your growth with the trajectory, there is a core technical wow factor that actually makes that easy to drive. I cannot look at that and not look at your background as a technical engineer. For anyone who's listening, who's building an AI product, how would you suggest that they think about the product build, differentiating in a market that's becoming very crowded? What did you do in that first 6 months?
My advice would be figure out what is the hardest problem to solve in your area. That will actually give you a leap, right? And just be very, very aggressive and persistent about solving that problem. As a company, as a team, like we are very truth-seeking people. I think we had the luxury of not worrying about market, not worrying about users. We had the luxury of just solving a problem really, really deeply that we were really passionate about. And again, having a benchmark really helped us because we were going through multiple pivots at that point. Like, hey, should we build this? Should we build that? And at one point, I just said, hey, look, this is the benchmark. Let's just go for it. Let's just try to beat this benchmark. And I think that is the direction that's going to take us in the right direction. And it was just a pure pursuit of the problem, right? I think that sort of really helped us fundamentally crack a lot of the problems that we see in the wild today. For example, we solved things like agent-to-agent communication. A lot of those things that were very advanced, and at that time, we were able to solve for that because we were just in pure pursuit of the problem, saying that, hey, can our coding agents autonomously solve this problem? I would say that choosing to solve harder problems and just going very deep into those problems is really helpful.
I love that consistently you've just said, focus on solving the problem. And I think that's particularly important in this AI age, right? Where historically you would have regional players that would win within like Asia or Europe, but now we're seeing that completely collapse and we're seeing winners emerge from anywhere in the world. If you look at companies like Legora, for example, within the legal space, like they're competing against Harvey, but actually that hasn't stopped them from scaling quite rapidly. You obviously started Emergent in India. And as you said, you've laser focused on solving the problem. And so this has pretty much gone global pretty early in your journey. As you've scaled, what are some of the key components when you're thinking about the competition, the product positioning? What are some of the key things that you thought about despite the laser focus on the problem?
When we came to market, we were very confident that we are serving like a very unmet demand. The real need to ship a real software. Even though everybody was promising it, nobody was able to do that at that point. Right? So we entered the market with this big faith that production-ready software is really hard. Nobody is able to crack it right now, and we'll be able to deliver better experience than anybody else in the market. We generally don't look at competition. We just think that the market is too big and nobody has actually solved the problem. We have a great shot at solving the problem, and users will automatically get attracted to platforms that actually really, really solve their problem. If you look at all of the companies in AI right now, they're growing super, super fast. The market is growing faster than all of us can capture right now.
We talk a lot about market, but you need a world-class team to deliver a world-class product that competes in the global market space. I'm curious as to how you've thought about that within Emergent, especially given the India origins. Is the team distributed? How do you think about team cohesion, all of that fun stuff, especially growing so quickly at this stage of the business?
We are a very in-office culture. I would say 996 kind of culture where we work really hard. I had the advantage that I had a previous company, so I could actually bring in a few of my rockstar team members along with me, like 2 or 3 of them. We got super lucky with our early team. We were able to hire like really great engineers. I remember early days, like we had no product, no users, just this benchmark that we were trying to chase. But the promise was so big that, hey, we will automate all of software engineering, that people, like you can actually be able to build software autonomously. We realized very early days that like the experience is not going to matter. What's going to matter is learning slope of people. So we sort of indexed on like younger people who could actually learn really fast. There is this institute called IIT in India, which is where like top talent is. And there's an exam that happens in India where like it's a competitive exam where everybody competes and you get a rank. You're All India rank 1, All India rank 2. This is basically like almost like sorted by IQ of India in some way. And so we went out to the top 100. And so we had like half a recruiter, and I told her that like, look, all I care about is like finding these top 100 people in the world in India, and let's just go and approach them. And we were able to hire, like, for example, IIT rank 1 works with us right now. Rank 12 works with us. We waited for the right people to come in, even though we were bleeding internally in terms of pressure. In fact, at launch, we had 7 people engineering team, 6 months after launch, we had 10 people engineering team. Like we grew so slowly. Now we have grown significantly. So last 30 days, we have hired actually 30 people. We've been very conscious about what kind of people we bring in and keep the talent density really high.
I would love to talk about the dark side of Blitzscaling because everyone sees the headline numbers, gone to 100 million in revenue, but I'm sure some things broke. Selling in over 190 countries in 8 months, which is so insane. What exactly broke? Did it affect churn? What issues did you navigate through this rapid period of growth?
There are fires burning every day, all across.
Probably right now as we're speaking.
Yesterday we had a massive bot attack on our network, right? And people are trying to use our tokens. There's not a single day that when I come to office and there is not an oh shit moment. I did not expect this is going to happen. There are growing pains. Like every single day there are like 50 things that are broken, and I have to pick that. Okay, what are the 5 things that would really matter and focus on that. For example, our customer service that when we built out, half the time the request that we would get was in a language that we didn't understand. People in French, people in German, right? Because we have a global audience. We had to internally build out our own AI customer support tool to serve this diverse audience. The rate at which new models are coming out is crazy, right? Like it used to be every 3 months you'll get a new model. Now it's every 2 weeks, 3 weeks you get a new model. So you have to figure out how do you want to work with them. I think hiring has been like really painful, like focus on really building a great team. That's been sort of something that has taken a lot of my time and energy to sort of really build a great team.
Something I'm so curious about. So you said you built out your own customer service agent, despite the fact that there are a few in the market that claim to serve multiple languages. Why did you decide to build your own?
We actually tried all of them. None of them like worked as well as our agents work. Decided to just build something on our own. The customer support for us is also very technical in nature. For example, let's say your app is not working. At that point, like you need your customer agent to also understand technical things. When you say, hey, my app is slow, it'll actually go and look into your app logs, figure out why is it slow, respond to you that, hey, like this is the prompt that you can use to fix up your app.
Interesting.
Yeah. There was a founder we spoke to a while back, and he said product market fit almost killed us. I think about that a lot because startups could die of indigestion or starvation. You could get pulled by the market so aggressively that it actually kills you. Then you have to think about ruthless prioritization, focus. How did you navigate that? Because when that hockey stick was going, you were like, oh, this is great. We could do X, we could do Y. How did you decide what not to do? Which is, we don't really talk about it, but would love to hear what mental models you relied on.
Yeah, I'd much rather die of indigestion than starvation.
That's starvation, fair.
And a lot more learning as well. Yeah, I think for us, what's happened is that the pace has been so fast, right? That you almost are forced to prioritize very ruthlessly automatically, right? For example, for us, customer success has been the number one priority and a lot more learning as well. What's happened is that the pace has been so fast, right? That you almost are forced to prioritize very ruthlessly, like automatically. For example, for us, like customer success has been the number one priority. Our fundamental thesis and belief has been that if we can keep getting customer to better success, we will win the market. And so we have been doggedly focused just on that. A lot of our prioritization happens through customer support today, right? So we keep a very close eye on, okay, what are the challenges that customers are facing? For example, when we launched our deployment success rate, which is when you have built something and you deploy, and we manage all of the deployment for our apps, was very low, 60%. So only 60% of people who have built an app could actually deploy, and both of them are working as expected. So that was like number one priority for us. This is a customer who's very close to success. How do we make sure that they get to success? Today, that rate is like almost 95%. 95% people who are able to build are able to actually take their apps live to the world. And so for us, actually, prioritization has been very simple, that we have just been focused on success rate of customers. And whenever we get confused, we just look at our customer support tickets and saying that, hey, let's just pick the top ones and solve for that. What we have done, I would say a little bit differently than like probably other companies have done, is we have been constantly experimenting. We have always had like few big bets that we are internally very convinced about, saying that, hey, we think we have a very deep intuition about this approach is going to work. For example, we are one of the only companies which have self-improving agents right now. That means that your agents actually learn from all of your past interactions with the customer and improves. And we continuously have 2 or 3 teams which are always working on massive big bets, which if works, like will win the category automatically. What would happen is that you tried something, it didn't work, but when the next one comes out, the same thing will work, right?
One of the things that's really coming through is you have to stay ahead of the market. We've had some founders touch on this, that it's actually quite difficult whilst you're building to almost be predicting the market, because that's what you're good at as a founder. You are seeing the market evolve before it catches on, and building for it in anticipation to catching that wave is really critical. One thing I wanted to talk about is scaling yourself. You built Emergent with your brother. You are a serial founder. How do you handle scaling yourself? especially building a business that's doing hundreds of millions of dollars in a couple of months?
Yeah, it's fairly learning on the job kind of work right now. I'm a first time CEO. I was previously, in my previous startup, I was a CTO, right? So this is a big change for me to being responsible for everything that happens everywhere in the company. Typically, I think what has been helpful is obviously building with my brother, building with a very strong founding team, right? We are like 4 or 5 people in the founding team. We care a lot more about unlocking this potential of software building of the world. And personally, I think what's been helpful for me, I have a couple of like great investors that I work with. They've worked with a lot of founders before. So whenever I'm thinking about something, I need advice, I lean on them. I also have a good founder network, right? So I've been starting to chat with other AI founders to just understand, oh, how do you guys think about this problem? Do you guys care about this metric? I mostly run my company in 2 modes. One is like daily stand-ups. I would run daily stand-ups for certain key areas. And then I run war rooms, right? Those are the only 2 modes I operate on. Stand-ups for regular stuff, and then I'll have war room for certain things which are like just burning. And it takes a little bit of time for you to figure out what is your style of running things. And so you need to constantly experiment and just be like open to one, like dropping things that are not working. Second, what's also happening right now is, which is very strange, is because AI is developing so fast, like you need to completely reimagine what the organization is going to look like with AI first. Every single department at Emergent has its own AI agent right now. For example, our recruitment team has an AI agent that actually goes on LinkedIn, finds the right people, messages them. If they reply, it'll automatically schedule our calls. We are fundamentally spending a lot of time rethinking that, okay, can this job be done by just one person? So I spent some time thinking about those as well.
And maybe just one cheeky question. Have you had like a tension point with your brother, like where he wants to do something, you want to do something different?
We have this constant fight, like every single week, every single like day, like we are fighting about something or the other. Like recent fight that we had was like, hey, should we set up a bigger office or a smaller office? And I was like, hey, let's set up a 50 people office because we're going to grow really quickly. And if not, we'll use the space for events. And he was like, hey, we don't need that bigger office. I think the best ideas will only come out when we have a disagreement. And if there are no disagreements, if there are no debates, if there are no like deep discussions, that means that we are not trying to find the best answer, right? And so, of course, at the end of the day, he's my twin brother. So no matter what, we'll make up at the end of the day, right?
If a founder is listening right now who wants to build $100 million business in the next year, yes, you've been very clear about what actually created that is the obsession on the problem and the user. Let's assume that exists. What is the one metric that you think that they should obsess over if they could have a North Star metric that kind of cuts out the noise and they wanted to try and simulate that J-curve growth as well?
One fundamental metric that is always truthful is how fast is your feedback loop, or how accurate is your feedback loop, right? For example, when we started, we had this benchmark, right, which was a world recognized benchmark. Like it's very hard to cheat on that. So we had this like a very strong feedback loop, and every day we would think of a crazy idea saying that, oh, this is going to work, and then we'll try and it'll just fall flat, right? Because benchmark didn't move. So that's something that I optimize a lot internally on that, because once you have a feedback loop, you can actually like iterate really quickly. So I mean, having strong evals, a bunch of those things would really help. For example, we are launching a new product very soon, and my first metric is what is our internal daily active user count? How many people internally are using it? And can I get more and more people internally to adopt that product? Because I know that if enough people are using it, that means that we'll have a stronger feedback loop to sort of really fast. So I would say that there's just optimizing on the feedback loop is something that I would recommend.
Got it. And if there was one metric that you feel like is misleading, people love it, but it doesn't mean anything, what would you say it is?
I mean, I would say fundraise. I think it's
fair.
In a grand scheme of things, the user happiness, how much revenue you're making, unit economics, a bunch of those things are like a lot more important than how much money you have raised.
What would you say is the one myth that many founders building global businesses from emerging markets that the world needs to stop believing? What's the one myth that you would love to dispel?
The myth is that top companies will be built in Silicon Valley. I think that's a myth that people need to disbelieve. I think top companies will come out of everywhere. We have seen TikTok, ByteDance. I mean, who would have thought like you'll have a meta scale company like outside of US? The world is changing. Everybody has access to information. Everybody has access to talent. It just requires like raw ambition and like just massive doggedness to sort of just get there.
Love it. And we're getting to the end of it. So we have just a segment. It's a rapid fire segment. We're going to ask very quick questions, 1 sentence max. So I'll go. If you had to choose one, distribution or product advantage, which wins over the next 10 years with AI?
Product.
Yeah? Okay. Now I want to hear an explanation.
Maybe just a quick 30 seconds. I'd love to hear more.
Great products self-distribute. I think
I love it. Okay.
What would you say is one decision in your first 6-8 months that looked small at the time but changed everything for the company?
I think us choosing to attack Sweetbench as a benchmark, I think that was like one small decision, and that really set us on the right path to discover our deep love for AI.
And if you were starting Emergent again tomorrow with 0 brand, 0 users, what would you do differently in the first 30 days?
I would probably launch very early. I think we launched really late. Probably we would have eaten the whole market if we would have launched early.
Awesome. As we close, I'd love to talk about the future of AI-enabled coding. People say vibe coding is eating software engineering. Others say AI is a bubble. What do you say to all of that?
I mean, I think it's a fundamental shift that's going to happen like very, very soon. It's happening at a very unprecedented pace where the nature of the work is going to change very quickly. I was actually shooting a documentary very recently where like I was showing them like how fast AI coding is. And I was trying to code manually. And on the other computer, I had like AI coding. And I literally couldn't get myself to code anything. I had just forgotten everything. And so I think fundamentally like, now we are at a point where very soon people would forget what coding is. And unless you are working with AI, you'll actually not be able to do the kind of work that you want to do. And that change is coming really, really fast. The rate at which models are improving is exponentially increasing. Even like when we're working in AI native space, like you have some prediction in terms of how fast AI is moving. And we have a very aggressive prediction on how fast AI is moving. We believe that AI is moving faster than we predicted. So I think it's very real. It's going to happen very soon. I don't think it's a bubble. I think we are extremely undervalued. Every single AI company is extremely undervalued right now.
Wow. I heard of a news recently where a tech entrepreneur vibe coded a vaccine for his dog that had cancer. That's just the beginning of how the world is beginning to unbundle problems using AI as a tool. What's your one crazy prediction on AI that you feel like no one is probably going to see coming?
I think you'll see like one person billion-dollar companies happening over the next few years. Like maybe
Really?
Yeah. My prediction is going to be a crypto company, but we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be what? Sorry, say that. Your prediction is going to be what?
It's probably going to be a crypto company where you can actually get to wealth very quickly.
And if there's one thing we've talked about today that you believe every founder listening needs to know, what would that be?
I just think that the best companies are yet to be built. And I feel that we are just getting started right now. And it's Bitcoin $1. And a lot of new things are going to happen over the next course of next 3-4 years. When I was starting up, like back in 2014 is when I started my first company. And I used to get depressed saying that, oh, I missed Google, I missed Facebook. There is never going to be a bigger company. And then I saw Uber. I was like, bigger companies are going to keep happening. So my thesis is that every like few years, you'll have like generationally big companies that are going to come out. And I feel like we're just in very early innings of you're going to have companies bigger than OpenAI, Anthropic coming, which are probably starting today.
That is a fantastic way to close. Yvonne and I are launching something super exciting where we will be speaking with founders who are building their AI companies at the early stages to give you investor feedback. So remember to check the link in the comments to send in your entry, and we will select 2 people to which we will share and speak with for feedback. Thank you so much, Mukund. It was so lovely to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was fun. Probably one of the most fun podcasts I've had so far. So really
I'm glad. High praise.
Tell us what you think of this episode on all of our platforms at the Startup Leap Pod. Do you have a question? Ask us and we'll ask our guests. Go to thestartupleap.io. See you next time.